Interstate 4 is crazy, yo! Unless you're driving on a quiet Easter Sunday morning like I was, it's rare to see this highway with as little traffic like there was on this particular morning. I visited Florida for a period of 4 days, and when I was down here, it was a very unorganized trip as plans changed after I booked my hotel. And to avoid paying higher fees at a hotel closer to Sarasota or Bradenton, where I spent most of my time, I ended up staying in Orlando. I thought the drive couldn't be as bad as people said it was online. Boy, was I wrong, because while I was there, I drove Interstate 4 between the Orlando and Tampa Bay metro area every day, and some of the stuff that I saw was just straight up scary. Of course, all of the crazy stuff happened when I didn't have my camera up, but those who live here would know exactly what I'm talking about. During my 4-day trip, I saw over a dozen accidents along the stretch of I-4 between Orlando and Tampa. I also saw a crazy hilljack in a red pickup truck weaving his way in and out of traffic near Lakeland. Of course, I didn't capture it as I wasn't recording at the time, but it was a situation where traffic was flowing at highway speeds only to come up to a traffic jam as lane closures were up ahead for construction. Well, the guy didn't want to stop, and he continued to weave in and out of traffic, and once he realized that all lanes were basically stopped, he nearly rammed into someone in the lane next to him because he was going too fast to come to a complete stop. Well, anyway, I can honestly say that I felt more scared for my life driving this highway than I have going through any of the hoods that I've been through in this country while making videos for this channel. I say that because I get a lot of comments asking me if I ever feel scared driving through these dangerous inner city areas, but anyway, with that said, if you're new to this channel, I make videos on cities and towns mainly, and occasionally drives throughout this country, as I'm on a journey to see as much of America as possible. You can keep track of my progress through my interactive map in the link down below. I began the video heading southwest from Daytona Beach, right next to the Daytona Beach International Speedway, actually. I heard on the local country station that the Speedway has a special on Mountain Dew that's going on throughout this race season, like a buy one get one free type of deal. I also heard that if you wore a Mountain Dew hat, that you can get a free scratch and sniff. So that sounds exciting.
Boy, you think you're slick coming up with all these nicknames for our city, don't you?
Well, the gas station that I just got done filling up at had about 4 condoms laying on the ground, so I'll call it Trashtona if I want to, fool. Now go watch your NASCAR race. Alright, well, Interstate 4, let's talk about it. Once again, you're not going to see any traffic in this video as I recorded it on the morning of Easter Sunday. One of the only times of the year that you won't see much traffic along this highway. After dealing with traffic backups on I-4 every other day that I was down here, driving it on this particular morning felt like a magic carpet ride to Disneyland. I-4 stretches across the state of Florida from the Atlantic coast to the Gulf Coast. It starts in Daytona Beach and it ends in Tampa. One of the reasons why I-4 is so congested on a normal day is because it's one of the only ways to go east and west across the state of Florida, especially if you're trying to avoid the dozens of toll roads in the area. Other reasons includes that the Orlando metro area has been soaring in population, and so has the Tampa Bay metro area, along with all of the other beach communities off of both the Atlantic and Gulf coasts. Florida has seen a population gain of nearly 10 million people since the year 1990, as it continues to be one of the fastest growing states. For comparison, only 10 states in the U.S. have a population of over 10 million. Common sense says that 10 million new residents means millions of new drivers on the roads, and to make matters worse, we all know that many people from the Northeast and Midwest make Florida their annual vacation. So you know that there's going to be hundreds of thousands of tourists in the state on any given day. It also doesn't help that I-4 travels right by Disneyland and Universal Studios. That many tourists means that there's going to be a lot of drivers added to the mix that are unfamiliar with the road network in the area. There's going to be a lot of drivers making sudden lane changes so they don't miss their exit, that sort of thing. The data that makes Interstate 4 the most dangerous highway in America is measured by fatal accidents per mile of highway. The interstate saw 150 fatal accidents across its entire length between the years 2016 and 2019. Since the interstate is only 132 miles long, that means that I-4 saw more than one fatal crash per mile of highway over that 3-year stretch, making it the only interstate in the country to see that high of a rate over the same time span. And to nobody's surprise, the stretch of the highway that goes through Orlando is the deadliest part of the route. Most interstate highways have U.S. highways that parallel them, as before these superhighways were built, the only way to drive long distances were to take these rural 2-lane highways. U.S. 92 is the highway that parallels Interstate 4, and that highway is ranked as the 5th worst in the country. U.S. 192 between Orlando and Indianapolis on the Atlantic coast is also considered to be one of the most dangerous stretches of highway. Come on, Florida residents. What is wrong with you people? The stretch of I-4 that we're driving on right now is the lightest traveled stretch of the highway, as it sees about 60,000 drivers on any given day between Daytona Beach and Deltona. After Deltona, the highway starts to see a sharp increase in volume, seeing up to 130,000 drivers on the average day as it approaches Orlando. The worst stretches of I-4 shouldn't be a surprise, as it sees over 200,000 vehicles per day between the Florida Turnpike and the city of Celebration, Florida. Along that stretch, you have Universal Studios, Disneyland, and Epcot, along with several other smaller theme parks. That's where you're likely going to come across all of the tourists who don't know where they're going and are overwhelmed by the traffic situation that they find themselves in. And that creates an environment where more accidents are likely. The state of Florida is trying to upgrade the interstate to make it safer as it continues to see an increase in fatal crashes. The biggest problem is that Florida continues to see millions of new residents move in, and the highway wasn't made to see the traffic volume that it sees today. You'll see, though, that once we enter the Orlando metro area that there have been some upgrades to the highway. Just recently, some new tolled express lanes have opened up in attempts to relieve congestion. We'll have to wait and see if that helps the highway become safer. But for now, we're going to continue to enjoy the magic carpet ride to Disneyland because it's never smooth sailing like it is now. Now, I couldn't help but notice the amount of homeless people that were camped out at this rest area spending the night, as Orlando has a big homeless problem, and I guess rest areas are a safe place to park your car at night and spend the night. All I was trying to do was check my camera lens to see if there were any bugs that needed to be wiped off of the lens. right now, currently, I'm recording the video for Interstate 4. There's no traffic at all. But I can tell you this, I was on it yesterday, which was a Saturday. Police car just went by, wow. Loud siren. But, yes, I was on Interstate 4 yesterday, which was a Saturday. And by the way, today is Easter Sunday. It is the morning of Easter Sunday, which probably explains why there's no traffic. But don't kid yourself. If you ever come down to Florida and you fly into Orlando, and here's another cop going after something. All right, well, if you ever fly into Orlando and you drive over to Tampa down Interstate 4, so you head west or southwest from Orlando on Interstate 4, don't expect there to be no traffic like what you're seeing in this video right now. I was on it yesterday, Saturday, April 16th, and it was from around, I don't know, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. I was heading down to Bradenton to film my video on Bradenton. It might have been a little bit before that, but it was so congested. My goodness. I was going maybe 20 miles per hour for, I don't know, a stretch of 30 miles maybe. And it was just stop and go traffic after stop and go traffic, and then you would finally be able to reach highway speeds. And then once you hit highway speeds for maybe like 5 minutes, you hit another slow spot. And it was just stop and go traffic jam after traffic jam. And not to mention the ridiculous drivers around here, my goodness. And I know that everyone complains about drivers from where they're from. I know that everyone thinks that they have the worst drivers, but I have not seen anything like the drivers here. I think it's a mixture of a bunch of older retired people driving slower, and then you have a bunch of young guns trying to show off their cars and fly around people, weave in and out of traffic, thinking it's going to get them somewhere anytime quicker, but it's really not. And then it's just a bunch of people that are not from here, that are tourists like myself, that are unfamiliar with the road, and plus the road is not built to support such high traffic volumes. There's only 3 lanes in both directions for most of the way between Orlando and Tampa, and having only 3 lanes supports only so much traffic, especially for a road like this that sees so much traffic. So the infrastructure needs to be updated. Florida's population has grown substantially over the last several decades, so they probably had a hard time keeping up with it. But that's the biggest reason as to why Interstate 4 sees such high congestion most of the time. Obviously, like the video that you're seeing right now, we're not seeing any congestion. Very rare. At least from everything that I've read online and what I experienced yesterday. I didn't film yesterday because I didn't drive the entire route. I only went from Orlando to Tampa, but I got off of the highway about halfway through Orlando and Tampa, and I did it because I was just tired of everybody. To just say the least, I was tired of everybody. Tired of the stop and go traffic, tired of the drivers around here. So I took some back roads, and there was hardly anybody on the back roads. It was actually really nice. Got to see some of the scenic Florida country, the agricultural lands that make up the central part of the state and the swampy areas. It was actually really pretty, I thought. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the second half of the drive once I got off of Interstate 4. But yeah, it's I got lucky today. Easter Sunday, people. No traffic. Alright, and we have made it to the city of Tampa, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, as doing all of those things helps these videos destroy the evil monster that is the YouTube algorithm. Also make sure to hit that notification bell and select yes, so that you can be notified every time that I upload a new video. If you enjoyed this video, then you might enjoy checking out some of the featured playlists on this channel. Videos on other places like what you saw here can be found in my Florida playlist or in my long distance drive laps playlist. Last but not least, if you can't get enough of me on here, you can always go follow me on my other social media accounts, and those links are below. We'll see you next time. Peace.